Russia's invasion of Ukraine has triggered one of the largest and fastest refugee movements that Europe has witnessed since the end of World War II. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, more than 10 million people have now fled their homes in Ukraine as a direct consequence of the Russian invasion, including 3.8 million people who have left for neighbouring countries. The EU has responded with an outpouring of public and political support, mobilising fast to deploy funds and welcome Ukrainian refugees with open arms. But elsewhere in Europe, another refugee crisis quietly rages on, one that remains all but forgotten. Since 2015, Lesbos Island in Greece has been one of the central points of an unprecedented flow of population movement towards Europe. Thousands have crossed the stretch of water between neighbouring Turkey to the Greek island, a trend that continues to this day. You don't have to look hard to find evidence of this. Abandoned blankets and life jackets are strewn over the coastline, and makeshift shelters can be found dotted around the island. Of those that have made it to Lesbos, many found themselves in the Greek camp of Moria, which was destroyed by fire, leaving nearly 13,000 people without shelter.
The 2 years after the fires that ravaged the Moria refugee camp in Lesbos in Greece, we're here in the Kara Tepe camp. This is a temporary camp to see what's going on here and what has changed since.
Much of the funding for the new temporary camp has been spent on security, with 270 security personnel hired to guard just over 1,200 people, or 1 in every 4 people, including children. Meanwhile, the camp is surrounded by fences and refugees are searched and scanned upon entry into the camp. While some have successfully managed to seek asylum, many have fallen through the cracks and found themselves caught in a bureaucratic limbo.
Mitaraki says that Turkey is a safe country for Afghanistan, Somalia, Syria, Pakistan and Bangladesh, and they can go to apply for asylum there. But we cannot deport them, and also we cannot give them papers. So we have them in this legal limbo, but they're taking rejection after rejection after rejection.
Me rejection, 2, 3 rejection year, 4 years. Yesterday me take rejection. Why? Afghanistan no good. Why me rejection?
So we've been told there's approximately 1,200 people here and 400 of which are children. There were some facilities for children. There was a big hall that is being used as a kindergarten for the children when they put on shows. And we also saw a playground as well where the children were able to play.
Local authorities have now approved a new migrant camp in Lesbos. But somewhat paradoxically, both human rights activists, NGOs, and also far-right groups find themselves united in opposing this camp, although for different reasons. Human rights activists highlight the risks of this isolated new camp, which is planned over 10 kilometres from the nearest town in the foothills of Lesbos and next to the island's landfill site. Meanwhile, far-right groups also oppose the new plans, but because they don't want to see the refugees there at all.
There is a confusion that leads us to listening to people saying we don't want the camp here, but Lesbos Solidarity talks about dignity and human rights, and some other groups are talking with far-right motivations.
Tensions have been rising over the past few years on the island, with the local governor opposing the new camp, insisting that the island must remain Greek.
Είναι ελληνικό, δεν το καταστήσουμε buffer zone για την Ευρώπη. Θα μείνει ελληνικό. Δεν ανεχόμαστε στην καρδιά του να έχουμε αυτές τις δομές. Τότε στη Λέσβο φιλοξενούσαμε 25.000 μετανάστες.
Leftist MEP Stelios Kouloglou has recently launched an international campaign to help refugees who are facing legal action for driving the boat when found by the Greek Coast Guard, which automatically brands them as a people smuggler.
Όλοι οι διακινητές στη μέση της διαδρομής φεύγουν, τους παρατάνε. Ο πιο άτυχος που κάθεται δίπλα τους παίρνει το πηδάλιο και του λένε πήγαινε εκεί στο φως. Και μέσα στο βράδυ, στο κρύο και στα κύματα δεν έχουν άλλη λύση παρά να οδηγήσουν το σκάφος. Έχω ξεκινήσει μια διεθνή εκστρατεία για να μπορούν αυτοί οι άνθρωποι, καθώς και άλλοι άνθρωποι οι οποίοι έχουν πρόσφυγες που έχουν καταδικαστεί σε εξοδοτικές ποινές, να έχουν μια δεύτερη ευκαιρία στο εφετείο για μια δίκη που να σέβεται τους στοιχειώδεις κανόνες.
The Greek MEP stressed that racism must not be a factor in the handling of the refugee crisis, but instead that all refugees should be treated equally no matter the colour of their skin.
Έχουμε χωρίσει τους refugees τώρα, τους πρόσφυγες, σε καλούς και κακούς, σε άσπρους και νέγρους. Οι άσπροι είναι από την Ουκρανία και οι νέγροι είναι αυτοί που είναι οι έγχρωμοι. Από τη στιγμή που δεν υπάρχει μια σαφέστατη στάση απέναντι στους πρόσφυγες, αργά ή γρήγορα αυτό θα αλλάξει και θα στραφούν και εναντίον των λευκών προσφύγων από την Ουκρανία. Όπως έγινε ακριβώς και εδώ με τους πρόσφυγες του 2015. Στην αρχή τους υποδέχτηκαν καλά και μετά από λίγα χρόνια το κλίμα άλλαξε. Η σημερινή κυβέρνηση θέλει να δώσει το παράδειγμα μέσα από καταδίκες εξοδοτικές 142 χρόνια, 50 χρόνια, 200 χρόνια, ότι δεν πρέπει κανείς να επιδιώξει να έρθει στην Ελλάδα. Αυτό δημιουργεί ένα ρατσιστικό κλίμα το οποίο διαχέεται στην τοπική αυτοδιοίκηση σε όλα.
Despite staunch opposition from regional authorities, the municipality of Mytilene has now officially given its green light to the controversial new camp. Originally due to be completed by August 2021, but held up due to pushback from the local population, Greek authorities told Euractiv that they still planned to go ahead with the camp and see it completed by the end of 2022. To gain a better understanding of the concerns about its location, Euractiv tried to get to the new camp ourselves, but were forced to give up after several kilometres of inaccessible dirt tracks, which led us to the middle of nowhere without any sign of building works or human civilization. Meanwhile, local residents appeared to also be in the dark about plans for the new camp. Asked about the lack of progress on the camp, sources from the Greek Ministry for Migration Policy told Euractiv,
"There had been an unfortunate incident with some people burning the machines. We are now in the stage of research on soil remediation and clearing. By the end of 2022, the new camp will be ready. We made it clear since the beginning that the new structure would be far from the urban environment. The new structure will have all the necessary primary health care as well as shops that will be able to serve asylum seekers. No answer on the criticism over being next to landfill."
Asked whether the European Commission has approved the location of the new migrant camp in Lesbos, the EU executive confirmed that this was the case after careful consideration and the assessment of various options and in consultation with the local community and Greek authorities in this process. The Commission granted €155 million to the Greek authorities to build new reception centres on the Greek islands of Lesbos and Chios in March 2021. Asked about the concerns surrounding the location of the new camp, a Commission spokesperson told Euractiv that the Commission is aware of concerns related to the location of the centre, saying it expects similar provisions to that of another camp in the Greek island of Samos to be arranged for Lesbos, including bus routes between the camp and the local town. The Commission spokesperson added that the Commission is aware that an environmental assessment was undertaken by the Greek authorities during the preparation of the project and the procurement procedure, although this is heavily contested by NGOs.
I could call it an abuse of the Natura. Of course, hiding the risks of destroying from an accidental fire that might happen. There's a lot of cases there because of the infrastructure already proven that it's not at all, there's no safety assessment in the camps. There is this danger of just burning out by placing it on that spot, the forest. But also we come in the second subject, which is the quality of people, the dignity of people that will be living next to the garbage area of the island. It's like 1 kilometer away.
But while the outlook remains bleak for many refugees in Lesbos, associations on the ground continue to work to ensure that migrants can access basic needs such as housing and jobs. One such association, Lesvos Solidarity, is a Greek NGO supporting refugees and locals which runs integration and educational projects. In one upcycling project, the Safe Passage Bags workshop, refugees are trained to make various items such as bags, bowls and keyrings from the migration-related material washed up on the shores of the island, such as dinghies and life jackets. This therefore simultaneously tackles two issues at the same time, reusing the debris while also providing an income for a number of refugees. Others have opened a centre for unaccompanied minors, which offers not only a roof over their head, but also practical support, including language lessons, help with their papers, and also skill sets to prepare them for a career. Meanwhile, campaigners continue to mobilise and raise both funds and awareness of the situation in Lesbos.